Hey mamas, you are listening to the Motherhood is Ghetto podcast. We all know motherhood can be a beautiful thing, but girl, it can also be ghetto. Join me as we discuss some of the best and worst parts of being a mom raising kids, all while trying to figure out this thing called life. This ghetto is a safe space, mamas. So welcome to the hood. Hey mamas, welcome back to another episode of Motherhood is Ghetto. My name is Joy, and how y'all doing out there? If y'all doing all right, you already know what to say. Say amen. I pray y'all are having a great day, a great week so far. Mamas, I'm not gonna lie. This whole back to school this whole back to school thing routine, it has honestly been kicking my butt a little bit. Um just a tad bit. And this year I decided to kind of let us fall into a routine naturally. Because in years past I've kind of like planned out the routine and like how it was gonna look like in the mornings and stuff like that, as far as everybody getting up and this and that. But this year's a little bit different with my daughter starting high school. And because she goes to a high school that's way across town from where we live, so she has to get up a little bit earlier than the average bear to catch her bus. So with that, that means that at least the both of us, we have to wake up earlier than everyone else. And I got to make sure she's at her bus stop at 0 dark 30 so that way she can get to school. And then I come back home and then just like lay down for 30 minutes, and then it's time for me to get up and start getting ready for work and get the boys up and they start getting ready for school. So I've been trying to like let us kind of fall into a routine naturally and not really like putting any expectations on them, like, okay, by this time, you need to be up, you need to be dressed, like all that stuff. I'm kind of letting them plan their mornings and how it's gonna look like for them. I just have for them like a drop dead time that they need to be ready for their bus and all that good stuff, so that way I can be on my way to work on time. So it's been a struggle having to wake up so early for my daughter. And by the time that I get to my off day, y'all, I'll be so exhausted. Like today, after I got the boys off to school, I came back home so that way I could sleep, because today is my day off. So I wanted to come back home and sleep before I started recording. And just a couple hours. Amen. Like nothing crazy. I just wanted to sleep maybe until like 10 a.m. And then so that way I can get up and, get my day started and start recording. And y'all, for for the life of me, I could not get this nap in. And my daughter, God bless her, she is working on an About Me project at school, where she's having to put information about me and her dad. So she's texting me like, where did you and dad meet? And where were you born at? And I'm just trying to get a nap. Y'all, I'm just trying to take a nap. And this girl is texting me back to back about this project and asking questions and asking, when's the next time we gonna go get ramen? Like, and I'm just trying to take a nap. So I ended up probably napping only like an hour or something like that. And then my mom called, so I was like, you know what? I'm up. I'm up. So like the Lord wants me to be up right now. Amen. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get up. So, but that's all good though. It's all good. I just thought it was funny because I hardly ever get to take naps. I hardly ever get to take naps. I really can't remember when's the last time. Well, actually, the last time I had a very, very good nap was when me and the kids came back from traveling to Florida, because traveling is exhausting. And when we got back home from Florida, um, I took a nap. I took the longest nap that I possibly could because I was so tired. And that was in June. It's August. So I was just trying to get me a little nap in, but I think I got a good hour in. And then also too, I had a nightmare. So then I woke up. Like the nap wasn't in the cars today. The good nap was not in the cars today. But that's okay. So we're here now. Amen. So thank you for coming to the podcast today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you all that have been listening and sending love and stuff in the DM. I appreciate y'all. Amen. You guys are the best. Please continue to listen to the podcast because, like I mentioned before, I really do see myself on stages and traveling and sharing my story and my perspective and just encouraging women in general to chase their goals and their dreams, whatever they may look like, and that it is still possible to achieve your goals and your dreams, even with kids, even being a mom, even being a single mom, or having a partner. All your dreams and aspirations are still within reach, and it is not too late. Amen. So but I appreciate you guys for joining today. So we're going to get into today's episode. So today's episode, I have been really thinking a lot about preparing my kids for the world, especially my daughter, since she is now in high school. She will be 18 in 4 years. Amen. And by the grace of God, she will make it there. And I want her to be as prepared as possible. I know that I can't prepare her for everything that she may encounter in adulthood, but now it's like crunch time, and I just don't want to send her out into the world not having shown her or taught her anything. So, in this episode today, we are going to be talking about some things that we can do to help prepare our children for the world, help prepare them to be productive members of society, to be responsible, and to just be prepared for what life may throw at them. And I think that's important. I I know that I came from a generation, and probably other generations too, where like kind of like when you're 18, like you're on your own. So you got to figure things out for yourself. And I know that a lot of people experience like their parents like 100% being like, you're on your own, like I'm not going to help you, and you're just out there. So you got to figure this out. What I would like my children's experience to be is that once they get to be adults, whatever you want to do, if you want to go to college, that's cool. If you want to get a job and work, it like whatever it is, I just don't want them to feel like pressured to feel like that they have to do it like as soon as they turn 18. And I know that that's probably not how everyone sees that, but I really do want to be able to provide my children the space to be able to make a sound decision and not have to make a decision because they feel rushed or pressured. I want them to be in sound mind when they make these decisions as to what next steps they're going to do in adulthood. So, at least for my daughter right now, I am getting her like her mindset prepped. Like, so when we talk about things like graduation and college and stuff like that, I make sure to tell her, like, it starts now. So, if you're wanting to go to college, and especially if you want to go to college and play volleyball, like, we got to put in the work now. I know you're only in the ninth grade, but it's like, it's like kinda like an interview, like the interview starts now, so everything you do in your high school career is going to affect, like, what college accepts you and scholarships you get and stuff like that. So and also too with that, I'm preparing her, like, yeah, like, one day you will be on your own, you will be living on your own, and you will have to take care of yourself, mom's gonna be here, of course. Like if the shit really hits the fan and you need like some help, yeah, of course I'm gonna be here for you, but I can't be there for you for everything. So I want her to be prepared and be able to make decisions on her own. And also too, I want her to be able to trust her gut, like her intuition. So those are some of the things I'm doing to try to prepare her, but I wanted to go over some other things that we can do to prepare our children for the world. And one thing that I will say that we need to do to prepare our children for the world is to be realistic with them. Amen. I think that it's important to know that our kids can't be successful if we're putting unrealistic pressures on them or expectations on them. And I think that we need to be honest with our kids about what to expect when it comes to being an adult. And especially for our kids who say like, like, "I can't wait to be grown and I can't wait to get out of my mama's house." Like, that's all well and good, but I think that it's also important for us to set up those expectations, those realistic expectations. One of them being that, and they probably are aware of it now, and if they're not, then we should prepare them, like, stuff is expensive. Um, Food is expensive, gas, if they're gonna be driving, even cars, like stuff like that. Everything these days is expensive and nothing is getting cheaper. Everything is getting more expensive. So if they are talking about like, oh yeah, when I'm 18, I'm going to move out and blah blah blah, and you know for a fact they don't have like a dime saved, they don't want to get a job, they don't have any aspirations to work, but they're adamant that they want to move out at 18 with no plan. Like, I feel like it's our job as mothers to be able to say, "Hey, hold on now." Like, I'm happy that you want to be independent on your own, but let me let you know the real, because you just can't go out there with no money, no plan, and just expect everything to fall into place and for you to have a stable home and all that stuff. There's some things that we have to put into place first before you can do that. And be honest with them, and let them know that, like, that you will have to have some means to be able to pay bills and take care of yourself. And I may not be able to do that. I know that there's a lot of parents that aren't in a position to be able to help their children financially, which is okay. We're not all in that position. So I think that it's important that they're really realistic with themselves and we're realistic with them and help them create a plan. Help them, if are you thinking about going to college? Are you thinking about a job? Here's some jobs that you can do that, you make decent money at and that can help you. Um Also too, I want to make sure that my kids aren't trying to attain unrealistic goals. So, as an example, right? So, my son Solomon, he is a super tall kid, and I have no doubt that once he becomes an adult, he will be at least 6'9" or 6'10". Like he's gonna be somewhere in that area. So also too with that, I know that Solomon does not like sports. Solomon hates sports. He doesn't play any sports. So as his mother, knowing that bit of information about him, I'm not going to try to push him to play basketball. Like, I'm not going to try to push him to do any sport just because of the fact that he's tall. Like, he can be great at other things, and him being an athlete is not realistic. So, I'm not gonna push him towards that. I'm not gonna push him towards that because of his stature or because his dad played basketball or his little brother plays basketball. Like, I don't care about none of that. I want him to do whatever it is that he is able to do, like, that's within his wheelhouse. And I'm not gonna pressure him to try to meet an unrealistic standard of being an athlete when I know that he doesn't like sports. He doesn't like it. And the same with my other son. My other son is very athletic. He loves to play sports. I'm not going to try to push him to be a musician because that's not his wheelhouse. It's not that he can't do it. That's not what he wants to do. That's not what he enjoys doing, and that's not really what he's good at. And that's not what he's expressed to me, like what he wants to do. So I'm not gonna push him to be a musician. I'm just not, and I'm not gonna put an unrealistic standard on him because I was a musician and I went to school or I went to college for music. I'm not gonna put that on him. So I think that that's important, first off, to be able to, as their parent, nurture and develop what it is that they like and not say like, "Oh, you're gonna be so tall, so you're gonna play basketball." Because I know that some parents don't even ask their kids, like they like they just put them in something just because like they want to keep a tradition or a legacy going, whatever the case, which nothing wrong with that. But I feel like I want my kids to be included in the conversation when it comes to what they'll grow up to do or grow up to be. And that's honestly why we waited so long to put them in anything. One, because we were poor back in the day and we couldn't afford really any extra funds to like put them in sports and stuff like that. But two, I wanted them to make their own decision. So when we did have the means to put them in something, I asked them, what are y'all into? What do you want to try? What do you want to explore? What do you want to do?" And that's how we landed on what each kid is doing right now. They made their decision and their choice, and that's what they're doing. So let's be realistic with our kids about what it's going to take to be able to sustain a life outside of home, like away from home base. Um, because too many of our youth is out here unprepared. Too many of our youth that are currently in the workforce right now, like between like the ages of 20 and 30, they're having trouble, you know, being able to show up for work, get to work on time, be responsible in that aspect. So we really need to do our due diligence as parents now for the generation coming up to instill those values in them that if you want the things and you want to be able to take care of yourself, you're going to have some form of income coming in or a way to take care of yourself. And then also too, for our kids going to college, like that means scholarships. Hey, and be honest with them. I can't afford to send you to college. I don't have the money to put up for tuition, room and board, all that stuff. So we need to get to work now. Whether that's saving, applying for college or scholarships and getting you prepared for that, maybe signing them up for a program at school that'll help them with that throughout high school and help them get prepared for applying for scholarships and things like that. Um, we got to be realistic with our kids. And that is a great segue into the next one. Um, Financial literacy. Amen. Making sure that our kids are financially literate, no, making sure that they know what it means when they're taking out a student loan, grants, um, credit cards, car loans, leases, putting their name on stuff. Like, we need to have open dialogue about financial literacy for our kids. Budgeting, how to manage their money, how to have their account set up like a bill account and a savings account, and then put in and telling them about like high yield savings accounts, investing, 401k, like all that stuff. I feel like our children need to learn while they're that teenage age, like in high school, because that is the time where they're getting jobs, they're doing like working at school and stuff like that. So they need to be prepared financial with they need to be prepared with financial literacy. And so that way they don't go out there and blow all their money on things that they don't need, or, eating McDonald's every day at school. Help them get a financial plan together. And if you're not there as a parent, that's okay, because there are so many resources out there that can help you get financially literate. You can sign up for classes, you can take courses, you can go to good old YouTube University. There's lots of ways that you can arm yourself with the information that you'll need to be able to be financially literate and for your child to be financially literate. And I have been doing my due diligence, amen, and learning about budgeting and about investing and all this good stuff to pass down to my kids, and to pass down these money behaviors to them, so that way they can be financially responsible when they become an adult. And I don't want my kids to, every day, like they need money for this and that, and bleeding me dry. I don't want that, because when my kids get to be adults, I want to enjoy my life. I mean, I might want to buy me a luxury car and be rolling around in the streets like in a luxury car and going out to eat every day. Like I might want that for myself, and I can't have that for myself if I'm constantly shelling out money because I never taught my children how to manage their own money, and budget and save. So that's really important, because I know that I was not taught anything about finances or loans, saving, credit cards, budgeting, nothing like that. And I got myself into some debt like at a really early age in my adult life, and didn't understand about credit cards, didn't understand about interest, loans, like all that. I didn't understand or know about any of that. So it's going to be imperative that we step up. And if we don't know, we need to educate ourselves. And we can educate ourselves right along with our children. We can go to the classes, watch a video together. Like we can do it together as a family and learn together, but we just got to start. We got to start somewhere. So definitely we need to prepare them on the financial front for sure. So another way we can help our children be ready for the world is letting them know that it's okay to explore different options after high school, because a lot of us go into it and is like, okay, after high school, you have to go to college or you have to get a job. Like, both of those are great and both of those are good plans, but there are other alternatives that they can explore. There are other options. There's, community college, there's trade school, stuff like that. Like I think I heard somewhere that we need like electricians and HVAC technicians and stuff like that. And they're doing away with these programs and stuff like that helps people get those certifications and trainings in order to be able to like secure these good paying jobs with a skill set. So I think that we should open up our kids to different options when it comes to what they can do after high school. Like I said, having a goal to go to college and graduate and stuff like that, like that's amazing. And also too, like having a goal like to, find a good job and start working to support yourself, that's also good too. But I want us to be open along with our children to the fact that there's more than one way that we can live life after high school. It absolutely have to be college. It doesn't absolutely have to be working at the family business. You know what I'm saying? Like, or it doesn't absolutely have to be being an entrepreneur and stuff like that. So let's help our babies find options, alternatives, to make sure that they're not feeling pressured to just go one way with it after school. And also too, I think it's important to let them know that they may fail, and that's okay, because we want them to be successful. That's our hope and our prayer. But also too, I think that that goes back to like being realistic with them and letting them know that, hey, there's a chance that this may not work out. There's a chance that, you may not finish school, but that's all okay, as long as we have a plan or we come together and I can help you create a plan, what's the next move and stuff like that. And even if you want to plan for a plan B, if school and stuff doesn't work out, the goal is to see plan A through. But we all know when life hits hard, we may have to pivot to plan B, and that's okay. And I think that we can be so focused on just getting plan A and executing on plan A that we don't talk to our kids about plan B. And we look at plan B as like a negative thing, like, you know, oh well, plan A didn't work, so I guess like I'll settle for plan B. Plan B could be a great plan too. And because you have to pivot to a plan B doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that all hope is lost. It's just a different way to get to the goal. So just preparing them in that aspect too would really set them up, for success. And I think that it's also important for us to be transparent with our kids about adulthood. Like being an adult is not easy. And especially when you throw kids into the mix, amen, and, you start having babies, doing grown-up activities, having babies, like, it makes it even more hard. It's not supposed to be that way, but, you gotta shell out more money when you have kids, and there's other responsibilities that come into play. So tell them the truth about it and help them go into adulthood with a plan. Okay? Because it's better for them to go into adulthood and have a plan and have a strategy for when challenges come up than to just push them out there with no plan at all, no no rhyme or reason for what they're doing, and it all fall apart. And I just feel like being truthful with them are really about what adulthood is. And yeah, like you have your freedom, you can do whatever you want, blah blah blah. But still it's hard. It is hard. And there's gonna be times where you're just gonna want to go back home. And for some, there's no home to go back to, so it's just we really gotta have open conversations with our kids as they're entering into 11th, 12th grade, stuff like that. Like, as far as me and my daughter go, she's a freshman, like, I'm starting now. I'm teaching her things and trying to show her things and instill things in her, and I'm gonna keep doing that until she, because when one day when she does come to me and says like, "All right, like, I think I wanna go to college," across, across the country, at least I know as her mom, like, I did my due diligence to make sure that she was as prepared as possible to move away from her family, all the help that she needs and stuff like that. Um, and that reminds me, me and my daughter, we went to, a friend's get together, and there was a lady there and she was ministering to my daughter and kind of just telling her like, as you grow up, you're going to want to listen to your mom less and less. You're going to want to do things your way more and more. And she was like, and that's cool, but she's like, when your mom tries to tell you something or give you advice or give you her opinion, you should at least listen. Like, you owe it to your mom to at least hear her out and listen, because your mom will never tell you anything that will harm you or deter you or put you in any type of danger or anything like that. So she's telling my daughter this, and I don't even know where this came from. It was just a moment where this lady was like, kinda instilling this in her, and I'm just listening, I'm like, "Amen. Amen, she's right," because at the end of the day, n for the majority, our kids wanna do it their way. They're not gonna do it exactly how we tell them to. They wanna do things their way. They wanna experience what adulthood is and making their own decisions, and that's cool. Um And I know what I tell my daughter, I'm like, I understand that you're going to want to make your own choices, but at least hear me out. Amen. At least hear what I have to say. Like, don't shut me out when I'm trying to give you advice. If you take it or not, then that's your choice because I can't force you to take my advice. But the only thing that I ask is that you hear me out. Like, let me get this off. Amen. And that's pretty much what the lady was saying, and I love that because she kinda reinforced what I have already been telling my daughter. And even now at her age, sometimes my daughter can be hard-headed a lot of times, and she's very much like she'll learn the lesson later. But right now, she wants to do this how she sees it in her mind to do it, and she'll bump her head and she'll be like, "Dang, like next time I'll listen to mom." But I'm glad that I got the experience, so and at the end of the day, we got to be okay with that as parents and that our kids may not follow exactly in our footsteps or they may not do exactly how or what we want them to do. So that's where trust comes in too. We got to trust that we did our jobs as moms and got them prepared as much as we could. Also, while we're talking about that, another thing that I truly believe that we need to stop doing as parents is if you know in your heart and in your mind that your child is not ready for the world. They are not ready to live on their own. They are not ready to take on the responsibilities of adulthood. They are not ready to live on their own. Please, for the love of edges everywhere, do not force them. Don't force them to be on their own when you know in your mind they're not ready. And what I mean by that is you know that you have not taught them any life skills. You have not taught them any type of financial literacy. You know your child don't got no sense. And we can all agree as parents, we know when our child is out here acting like they don't got no sense and they lack common sense. If you know in your heart's a heart that your child is just simply not ready to adult, then don't force them to. Unless you're you're prepared to teach them these life skills or get them connected with resources that can help them be successful as adults, don't push them out there. Let them stay home for like give them a time frame or something. Let them get themselves together before you just push them out there. And I really feel strongly about that, y'all. Like, I cannot, like, in good faith, knowing that if I had a child that doesn't have any money, doesn't know how to save money, um, doesn't even know how to wash their own clothes, has never washed their own clothes before, stuff like that. Like, if I know that in my mind that they just don't have those life skills to be able to live or sustain a life on their own, I'm not gonna force them. I'm not gonna say, "Well, you're 18 now, you gotta figure it out. Bye." Like I'm not gonna do that. And I don't know, like call me soft, call me gentle, whatever you want to, but I just don't think that that's right. And especially if you have a child that struggles with decision making and, making logical decisions based on facts and stuff like that. Let's help them now. Let's prepare them now instead of pushing them out there and knowing that they're not ready. So that way they end up like staying with people who take advantage of them, who abuse them, and hopping from house to house because they don't know how to take care of themselves financially. They don't know how to keep a roof over their own head. They don't know how to properly like interview for a job. They don't have email etiquette. Like let's teach them this stuff now so that way they don't go out into the world ill prepared. Like let's do it now, mamas. Let's do it now. If you're baby two, then it's not for you. But if you have preteens, teenagers, like high school age, kids like that, like let's start right now and get them prepared. And I promise you, I feel like the transitioning them into adulthood would be a lot easier on us as parents. Maybe we won't stress as much. I know we'll still be worried because those are our babies, but at least we'll know in our minds and in our hearts that we set them up as best as we could. We did it. Like we got them the resources. We taught them things, like all this stuff. Like at least we know and can be secure in the fact that we did our due diligence as parents. And our kids know that our kids go into the world with confidence. Amen. They're confident in their next steps. They're confident in their plan. All that. So, um, those are just my 2 cents, mamas. Those are my 2 and only cents. But I really do. I really feel like it's important that we make sure our kids are ready for the world and we don't send them out here unprepared. Things will happen, challenges will come up. Like that's a given. That's a fact. Life is gonna life no matter who you are, how old you are, how much money you got in your bank account, where you live, what kind of car you drive. Like life is gonna life regardless. But it's our job as their mom to make sure that they're prepared for what life may throw at them, good or bad, right? Because life can go great. They can get opportunities to travel the world or, make lots of money. But we want to make sure that also too, our children are of sound mind, so that way when those big decisions come up, that they can make the best decision for them. And they're not trying to make a decision to please this person or that person. Like we have to instill that in them too, that confidence to trust themselves and to trust the plan that they have for themselves. We got to instill that in them too. So with all that being said, mamas, I'm going to go ahead and step down off my soapbox and land the plane here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you found this episode helpful, please don't forget to share it with another mama who you think would find it helpful too. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at motherhood_ghetto. I post reels there, episode preview clips, stuff with me and the kids so you can keep up with us. Also, don't forget to follow the show. You can listen to the show on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We got visuals on YouTube, so if you want to join me on YouTube there, I am over there too. And I so appreciate you guys for tuning into the podcast and tuning in today. And until next time, mamas. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Don't forget to follow the podcast and share with anyone who you think may enjoy it. And follow me on Instagram at motherhood_ghetto. Also, feel free to DM me if you have any experiences, opinions, or views on motherhood you'd like me to share on the podcast. Until next time, mamas.